And I will introduce Jaden from Eastern Michigan.
Perfect. I'm just going to share the screen. All right. Awesome. Do you all see where it says here is where you'll soar?
We do.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, thank you so much. I am Jaden Zayas. I'm one of the new senior admissions advisors here and a proud alumni of Eastern Michigan. Got my bachelor's in 2023 and current master's student in our educational leadership program. So very Easterned out. I'm excited to talk to you all about some of our changes for programs, services that we offer our students, as well as our scholarships and funding opportunities. So what I usually go and start out with is just kind of like fast facts about our institution. We were founded in 1849 as Michigan State Normal School, so an institution that teaches teachers, and that's still true today. Our college education is our most popular programs in academic college on our campus. But of course, we've grown to offer over 200 majors and programs across the board in our four other academic colleges. Two very important statistics is in that centerpiece that 47% of our last year's incoming class were considered for the Pell Grant, and that plays a huge, huge, huge role in our full tuition scholarship. Okay. So one of our scholarships, the Eagle Guarantee that I'll break down in a little bit, offers students not only full tuition, but also $2,000 to live on campus. So now we're offering some on-campus housing support for incoming students as well. And the other one is that 32% of that same incoming class identified as first generation college students. Our TRIO Student Support Services is an incoming freshman cohort based program where students have the ability to have a faculty or staff member who's kind of like their mentor and buddy on campus to help them navigate the different resources on campus, navigating their first year as a freshman, and help with that transition from high school into college. Like I said, we're going to go over some of the scholarships. The breakdown for our cost of attendance is between tuition, which right now is about 16,000 for the year, and we're still on that block model. So if students take about 24 to 32 credit hours or 12 to 16 in a semester, they're going to be paying that 16,000. If they decide to take any more or less, that's when they start paying per credit hour. As far as living on campus, it's around 13,000. That's for our standard room and meal plan. We are still optional living their first year if students are within a 50-mile radius of our institution. And I always tell them if they have questions on like if they're on the 48 to 52 border, just give us a call and we can work with them in the housing department if they want to commute rather than live on campus their first year. But these two numbers are going to combine for 30 grand per year. Kind of like the sticker price is what I tell our students. But no one's paying all that amount to come to Eastern. We have some amazing scholarships. Our Emerald Scholarship and Eagle Guarantee are what we consider automatic consideration scholarships. So what this means is students have to apply to Eastern, have official counsel or counselors send us their official high school transcripts, and then fill out FAFSA, and that's all they need to do for it. There's no application that they need to submit for each of these scholarships, no letters of recommendation needed, just those three items. The Emerald Scholarship is solely based off their cumulative GPA, and we actually included two extra tiers to the Emerald Scholarship this year for students with not only high GPAs, but also high test scores. So if students have, let's say, a 3.75 and a 25 ACT or 1200 SAT, they can qualify for a $10,000 Emerald Scholarship. Same with students with that 3.75 or higher GPA and a 28 on the ACT or 1300 on the SAT, they qualify for our 12,000. Okay, so we did add those two new tiers this year. Eagle Guarantee is going to be that full tuition scholarship, so that 16,000 goes away for 4 years, and they also get the $2,000 on campus housing support. In order to be eligible for the Eagle Guarantee, they have to be a first year student, have a 3.0 cumulative GPA from high school, and be eligible for both the Pell Grant through FAFSA and the Michigan Achievement Scholarship. I will say the Eagle Guarantee does have that deadline of March 15th of their senior year. So any students who are interested in seeing if they qualify, they do have to have an application as well as FAFSA on there. For the Michigan Achievement Scholarship, we do tell students about their eligibility as long as they're graduating from Michigan high school. They attend a public, private, or community college in Michigan, and to fill out the FAFSA. So I always emphasize the importance of FAFSA. We do also offer the alumni scholarships for any parents, step parents, or grandparents that attended Eastern at any level, whether it's bachelor's, master's, or PhD. It is a separate application they'll have to fill out with an essay question, basically saying what does it mean to be an EMU legacy and why you want to come to Eastern. But once they do those two things, that's all. And then they'll be reviewed for that. And our last one is that presidential scholarship, which is a full tuition, full room and board scholarship. It is competition based. There are two rounds. Round one is meeting the qualifications of a 3.5 cumulative GPA or higher, 25 ACT or 1200 on the SAT. And we also made it test optional if students don't have those test scores to make it, but have a super high GPA. So if they're 3.85 or higher, it is test optional and they won't need their test scores. There is a separate application for the presidential scholarship. There's some essay questions, as well as an on-campus visit that needs to be done by December 15th of this year if they are a senior. This is round one. If they make it to round two, that's an on-campus interview that takes place the first weekend of February. As I mentioned before, we have over 200 majors for students to choose from. Like I said, our college education is a kind of our gem on campus. We get a lot of educators produced in the state of Michigan as well as in the neighboring states. And we offer programs in special education, early childhood education, K through 12 specialties, all of it. Our College of Arts and Sciences is our largest academic college on campus, offering programs in liberal arts and humanities, as well as the natural and physical sciences. It is also our heavy research institution. So any students who want to do undergraduate research will typically be placed in the College of Arts and Sciences, unless they typically like pair up with a faculty member in any of the other colleges. They'll probably be in the College of Arts and Sciences for research. Game Above College of Engineering and Tech offers four disciplines in engineering: mechanical, civil, electrical, and computer, as well as our aviation flight technology program and our growing cybersecurity program as well. College of Health and Human Services is for anyone who wants to go into the medical field, whether that's nursing, occupational therapy, physician's assistants, or even our renowned social work program. Last but not least is the college business, which was ranked best in the Midwest for the last, I think, 22 years now, since 2003. And they offer programs like our finance, supply chain management, international business, all of those wonderful programs. Now, the EMU Honors College is more of an enrichment college. It's not a degree-seeking institution. So this means any students who have taken AP, IB, or honors courses while in high school, the Honors College is kind of like that on the collegiate level. And they offer priority registration for classes, their own living learning community in Downing Hall, as well as private scholarships for study abroad adventures. As far as things to get involved on campus, we have over 150 student orgs that are registered. These can be multicultural identity based, they can be community service, Greek life, our club sports that compete against other schools in the state or neighboring states as well. We do offer music, theater, and dance performances, and these are not major locked. So what that means is any students who might be studying political science or business, they can still participate in our marching band, any of our theater productions, any dance productions. They just go through the audition process like normal. As far as our athletics on campus, I mentioned we have club sports, but we are also a Division I athletics institution. We have 20 sports split between men's and women's. And I usually tell students if they are interested in being recruited or going through the collegiate sports on the Division I level, they can just always reach out to our office and we can put them in touch with kind of the processes they need to go through in order to be recruited. As far as our on-campus living and dining options, we have 11 housing options. Six are going to be residence halls for incoming freshmen to choose from, including that honors dormitory that I mentioned, as well as five on-campus apartments that start at that sophomore level or higher. Okay, and everything has been renovated within the last 2 or 3 years. So two of our residence halls and apartments are actually brand new as of last fall. Everything else got an update and renovation. So now there's AC in all of the rooms, brand new kitchenette and lounge spaces for students to kind of study and use as a community space. When it comes to dining, we have them all scattered throughout campus, but majority of them are going to be centered around our residence halls. So students living on campus don't have to walk too far away, especially in the cold Michigan winter months. And these options can include the Starbucks, Chick-fil-A, and our on-campus common space. At Eastern, we also offer lots of student support services, not only catered to academic, but also physical and mental health. So we have CAPS, which is counseling and psychological services, also free therapy for students on campus when they're navigating that transition from high school to college, or if they're feeling burnt out from classes in the beginning. Those free therapists are really going to be helpful and a great tool for our incoming students. Holman Success Center is going to be our main academic tutoring hub on campus, and they offer the math lab. So anyone taking those like higher level calculus courses and need an extra support, we'll have professors and student staff who have ace and excelled in those classes helping out with that, as well as our writing center, part of the Holman Success Center. So anyone writing research papers or lab reports for the first time, they'll be there to kind of guide students through the different components to those papers, as well as giving feedback on like if they were to submit it for a grade, what they would receive. Two of the student cohort-based programs I mentioned before, the TRIO Student Support Services is for our first generation college population, as well as RISE Scholars. Both help with first year student matriculation into college. They both offer that mentoring. They have success coaches that host study tables weekly for students in the program. And they also go to different trips around the country to promote post-graduation success. A lot of the times they'll go to graduate school opportunities and shadow and campus tours around the country. Last year, our trio students went to Chicago for a week and had all expenses paid trip so that they could see some of the graduate school options down there, as well as kind of tour the city of Chicago because it was the first time for most of those students to kind of see the city. So they had a fun adventure there. Swoop's Food Pantry is a great resource. It actually started as a senior capstone project back in 2010 and has now grown to an on-campus staple and resource for all of our students. They offer canned food as well as personal hygiene products. So any student who doesn't have a car their first year, can't bring a car on campus and get to the store, Swoop's Food Pantry has been a really a great resource for them. And last but not least is the University Advising and Career Development Center. University Advising is for students who aren't sure what they want to study or they come in as undecided. And then the Career Development Center has career coaches that guide students in making resumes. They host mock interviews. They do job and internship fairs throughout the school year based on the programs and fields that students are most interested in. In the center here are some of the companies and organizations where our current alumni work through, and constant folks will be pulled in for our job and internship fairs. So anyone who wants to go in Ford or work for the Detroit Lions or work at Beaumont Health, we'll have professional staff and EMU alumni connections there so that students, even in their first year or second year here, are able to either shadow or gain internship experience so that they're set up for graduation their senior year. Like I mentioned before, with our College of Arts and Science, we are very big on research at Eastern. We host an annual undergraduate research symposium, typically in the springtime. And this is an opportunity for students to pair up with a faculty member in their department or their program and do a year-long research experiment or study and present it to the whole community. This is also a great way to earn some extra scholarship or grant money for students just by participating in the research endeavors. Now, to start the application process, we are on the Common Application this year, as well as the Eastern website. All we need for applications to be complete is the application through one of those portals, official high school transcripts sent from either a counselor or a school official. We are test optional for first year students if they have a 2.5 GPA or higher. And once we receive all the materials, it typically takes 2 to 4 weeks to hear back from us. Now, Eastern is still on a rolling admissions basis, so we don't have a like set deadline for when applications need to be submitted and all those documents need to be received. However, if you recall, some of the scholarships do have deadlines. The presidential scholarship competition has that deadline at December 15th of this year if they're a senior. And then the Eagle Guarantee, which is that full tuition scholarship, has the deadline of March 15th. So those are the deadlines I usually tell students they'll want to have their applications by, depending on which scholarship they're hoping for. I also refer them to the FAFSA to see if they do qualify for the Pell Grant, which sees if they qualify for the Michigan Achievement Scholarship, as well as that Eagle Guarantee. And then reach out if they have any questions or if you have questions about our application process, scholarships, programs that we offer, campus tours or visits, anything like that. We're always happy to help with that. As far as next steps after students have been admitted, we do have two different or like steps. If they're a first year student, they'll have to submit an enrollment deposit. This is just to secure their spot. It is about $55. It is refundable up to May 1st, but after May 1, it's non-refundable. And if students have an issue or having a hard time with putting down the down payment and the enrollment deposit, they can reach out to us and we can defer their payment to their fall bill, which means any scholarships, loans, or grants that they receive can cover the enrollment deposit. Once they submit their enrollment deposit, they'll be able to activate their My Emish account, which is where they're able to register for classes, kind of see all their credits if they're dual enrolled or take any AP or IB credits and get college credit. They'll see that all on their My Emish account. And then registering for our student orientation and advising registration, also known as SOAR, and EMU Connect. This will be available January, February of this upcoming school year or of this upcoming academic year. And this is a great opportunity for students to register for their fall courses. Okay, so at SOAR, we'll have different sessions starting in March all the way through August, and students only have to attend one SOAR orientation throughout. But this is where they register for their fall courses with an academic advisor for their program. EMU Connect is the weekend before classes start, and that's where first year students are able to move on to campus a little bit earlier and also do like their main on campus orientation and learn about the resources and walk their schedule and do all the fun orientation events. For transfer students, we try to keep it very similar. They do not, however, have that enrollment deposit. They just activate their Emish account. They'll be able to see all their transfer credits through there as well. They'll schedule an academic advising appointment with their specific program or department, and then they'll have online orientation modules that they do through Canvas. And then here's our contact information. I'll also throw something in the chat once I'm done sharing my screen, just so you all have our contacts. But like I mentioned before, we can be reached either call, text, email, or if you go to our website, there is a little helpful chat box that can answer some of those faster questions, or if you need help navigating our page. And I will also plug all of our socials, which is run by our student staff. They've done a phenomenal job in kind of capturing what it's like to be an Eastern Eagle and doing the day in the life videos.
You sound like you've done this a few times, Jaden, huh?
Oh yeah, coming off of 2 visits this morning.
All right. So what are your aspirations in education? You said you're on the graduate program.
Yes. So I am looking at academic advising or something student support services on the collegiate level. That's kind of where my main focus and drive have been.
Great. Well, good luck to you. I appreciate it. Does anyone have any specific questions for Jaden with Eastern and what he's presented? Generally, they're comfortable enough to unmute or put it in the chat. These are a bunch of counselors. So if not, I will go ahead and hand over the second half. I saw Megan is on. So we're going to head back up to the UP a little bit, right, Megan?
Yeah, yep. So I'm up in Cedarville, Michigan. So up just east of the Mackinac Bridge when you cross over about 30 minutes.
Awesome. All right, Megan, I've made you co-host, so you feel free to share your screen if you need to. And I mentioned, I'm not sure if you were on, but I did start recording when Jaden first started. So counselors have access to this at a later date as well.
Awesome. Perfect. So let me make sure I am sharing the right thing here. Can you guys see my presentation?
Yeah, you're good.
Here. All right. Awesome. Very cool. Well, thank you for having me today. So I am up in the Eastern Upper Peninsula in Cedarville. So we are in the Lachino Islands, which is a band of islands between Mackinac Island and Drummond Island, if you're familiar with those places. Marine Trades Institute was formerly Great Lakes Boat Building School. I was kind of going through the guests the counselors on this call today, and I think there's some that I have connected with in the past as Great Lakes Boat Building School. But we are a trade school that focuses on marine industry careers. And so in this past March, we decided to launch our rebrand to Marine Trades Institute, and we now have two schools that fall underneath that. So the Boat Building School and the Marine Technology School. The purpose of that rebrand was that we wanted to first of all, better represent our students. We have students on the boat building side, but we also have students on marine service technology side. Great Lakes Boat Building School didn't really represent our whole student body well. And so that was really kind of the main push. And then, of course, we want to continue to expand and grow our campus and grow our programs. So this allowed us to kind of have room for that growth, both on the boat building side, but also on the marine technology side. So Marine Trades Institute is the institute's name, with the Boat Building School and the Marine Technology School underneath that. And as we go through the presentation today, I'll talk more about the programs. But my name is Megan Mitchell. I am the Admissions and Marketing Manager up here at Marine Trades Institute. We are a small school. We are a trade school, so most of our work is done hands-on. This picture that you see here, this is actually our school's backyard, and this is a boat that the school has. So we're in a very beautiful location where the marine industry, life on the water, all of that is a big factor in it. So we're positioned well for the kind of work that we do. All right, let's see if this is gonna go. All right, so mission and vision. We are a school that focuses on the Great Lakes region. We really are also focused on careers. So we do have students that come in and they just want to learn the skill. Maybe they're not, planning to continue on this or work with this. But we do like to focus on careers and make sure that our students that are coming up here to get careers in the industry have the skills that they need in order to do so. Those skills include both the technical skills, so on the boat building side, learning to build boats, learning restoration, on marine service technology. That's including, working on inboards, outboards, all of that kind of stuff. So making sure that everything that we're doing is driven with a career focus. We have a program advisory board, so it's actually made up of people in education, but also employers in the marine industry. So we're really fortunate with that. So they show us where the gaps are in the industry to allow our programming to sort of fit those needs. And so they let us know. So I'll talk later about a spray finishing certification that we offer. That was a need identified from that program advisory board that we were now able to incorporate into our boat building program. We do really focus on the Great Lakes. We're in Michigan. We're surrounded by water, a lot of inland waterways, all of that kind of stuff. But with that being said, our students do come from all over, and they also go all over to work. Last year, we had some international students, so from Canada. We've also had students from Kentucky, Colorado, Florida. And while most of our students come from the Great Lakes region, we do have students that come from elsewhere. We're one of 4 schools in the United States dedicated to the marine trades. There's Iris and the Landing School on the East Coast, and then it's Northwestern School of Boat Building, Wooden Boat Building, I believe, that's on the West Coast. So we are the only school dedicated to the marine trades and marine careers and that kind of training. And with that being said, there are programs around the state as well that do offer, especially on the marine technology side of things. So we are celebrating 20 years. So we've had a lot of really exciting things come out this year. Our name change was one of them. Also celebrating 20 years, so over 200 graduates. In the last 5 years, we've had nearly 100% employment placement, so in the high 90s. Career services is something that we offer our students, and so we have staff here on site that are connected to the industry. We also are very well known in the industry, so employers are reaching out to us pretty often with their job postings looking for our graduates, and so we are excited about the numbers that we have for employment placement. The students that don't have jobs are generally the students that don't want to. So our our student body is fairly unique. We can only accept 30 students between both programs. I think that the biggest age gap when I started was 17 and 68 on the first day of class. So we have students coming right out of high school. We have those that were in the military. They can use their education benefits here once they get out of the military, career changers, and then of course retirees as well. And so that 100% employment placement, there's just some students that come here that they're not looking to work once they're done. And then we have a variety of industry partnerships. As I mentioned, we're one of 4 schools dedicated to the marine trades in the United States, and we are well known in the industry. I'll talk a little bit more about that later on as well. But yeah, so we're pretty proud of all of the things that we've done here in the last 20 years. And so this picture is also our backyard. So you can see kind of the crest of the school there, but these are students from the boat building program. They're actually putting their boat on the water and learning how to row. These boats are now converted into sailboats. So they're actually learning to row and sail now at the end of the program, which is really cool on that side. And actually all the pictures you see here, these are pictures from the school and on campus. I do always like to include numbers in my presentations about the industry itself. This is focusing on the United States, but I'll also focus on the state of Michigan as well. So the marine industry in the United States, $230 billion economic impact. And I just want to make a note here that this is focused on recreational boating only. So this is not including the maritime industry, shipping industry, big ships, things like that. So these numbers are for recreational boating, which is really what our school focuses on. Our students go to work on, pleasure boats, fishing boats, racing boats, yacht boats, things like that. And so please just take into account that this isn't the shipping industry or maritime industry. One of the numbers that I like to point out is that here at the bottom, 95% of boats sold in the US are made in the US. I think that's a very important number. I think when people are thinking about the trades and what to tell students, where to go, I think that we focus a lot on the CTE classes that we offer. So auto, power equipment, construction, wood shop, that kind of stuff. And I think that the marine industry just kind of gets forgotten about. I think there's this misconception that marine careers are seasonal, that this is a summer, summer employment. This is where, you go to pump gas for the summer or something like that. But really there are a lot of career opportunities, everything from being the marine technician all the way up to being the person that's marketing and doing sales and working at the dealership. There is a wide range of careers here and very good careers for students that are looking to get into the trades. So narrowing that down to Michigan. So if you want to throw some numbers in the chat, I don't know if I can see the chat, but does anybody know where Michigan ranks in terms of boat registrations in the United States? You can unmute yourself and shout it out.
1?
No idea.
What's that? I heard 1. I heard another number. So we are actually 3rd in the country. So we are 3rd in boat registration, so very high up there in the top 5. With these numbers, you can see $11.7 billion annual economic impact that the marine industry has on the Great Lakes region. Again, this is focusing on recreational boating only. Over 45,000 jobs supported. So I think that these numbers, while it seems like a very silent industry or people don't think about this, it makes sense. We're surrounded by water. There's water all over the state. And anywhere there's water, our students can find a job. And so I like to put the Michigan numbers up here just because, they're just, to me, they're very huge numbers and they really speak well to this industry and what this industry has to offer for employees. So back to the school. So our school, again, is a trade school. So the programs that we offer, both the boat building program and marine service technology program, are only 12 months long. Our students begin in September, so the Tuesday after Labor Day, and they graduate the following August. So when they graduate in August, this is where, marinas are getting ready for the end of the year. So the seasonal pulling boats, getting boats ready for winter, that kind of stuff. So our students really can have a job as soon as they graduate if they want. Small class sizes, again, 30 students between both programs. We are building boats, we are working on boats, so some of it is a space issue. The boat building students, they break up into groups of 3 or 4 and build a 14-foot Indian River skiff, which is a sailboat and a rowboat. That's one of their big projects that they do. And then our marine service technology folks, they're working on, big fishing boats and stuff like that. So there is a space issue, but also we have really great instructors. Kevin on the marine service technology side, his background is actually heavy machinery. He was a diesel mechanic, decided he wanted to get into the marine industry, really focuses heavily on diesel and has a strong diesel background for the marine industry as well. Eric Renshaw, he owned his own boat building business for 30 years in the Bay City, Saginaw area. So he teaches our boat building program. So we keep our class sizes small because we also want our students to have the opportunity to work with our instructors, gain that knowledge, and really have that one-on-one time. Industry specific. So our students that are coming here, these are students that learn well, working in the shop, working hands-on. It is 80% hands-on. There is some book work and stuff, but even the book work that they're doing is very focused to the marine industry. So it's industry specific. There's no math classes, science classes, anything like that. And while math and science and all of that is incorporated into what they're doing, again, it's all focused on the marine industry and marine industry careers. So our boat building program, again, this is a 12-month program. This is under the boat building school. This is really our flagship program. So here in the Lake Chanel Islands, we have a very strong history of wooden boats. If anybody on the call today is familiar with wooden boats, Chris Craft is kind of, I would say, the king of the wooden boat world. They were first manufactured just over 100 years ago in Algonac. The first Chris Craft dealership was actually in Hessel, Michigan, which is 3 miles west of the school here. And so the community started this school, and they started it just because they wanted to keep that skill of wooden boat building alive. Again, now fast forward to 2018, we became accredited. We got our program advisory board. We really shifted towards careers, focusing on careers. And this program has changed in the last 20 years as well to fit that. And so while wood is really the main medium that these students are working on and working with, they're also getting into things like spray finishing. They're getting into wood composite. They're getting into basic mechanics. If you're going to build a boat, you have to know how to install the engine and do the electrical to make sure that it runs. And so, yes, wood is the main medium, but they're getting their hands on a lot of other things. They do a vacuum infusion mold. It's resin and fiberglass on the side, and marine service technology. And that is the technique that they use to build these multi-million-dollar yachts. And so it's just on a smaller scale. So they do work a lot with wood, but they're also into epoxy, spray finishing, things like that. The folks to come out of the comprehensive career boat building program, these are going to be your marine carpenters. These are going to be your custom boat builders, your boat restoration folks. Those are some of the career pathways that these students take. I always like to throw pictures of our students. They do some really cool work. Here you can see students are learning to sail. So once they build these boats, they're actually getting out on the water and they're sailing these boats. They work with epoxy, spray finishing. The picture with the tape measure in the girl drawing, that's the lofting process where they're taking the designs and they're lofting them out to actual size. These are the designs that they'll use to build that Indian River skiff. That top middle picture, that's actually a mock hull project. So it's a wood composite project where they put a bunch of damage into this mock hull that they've built. And now they're learning how to use things like fiberglass, other wood composite materials to make the repairs. And then they'll put epoxy and everything on that to make it look like there's no damage or anything like that. That bottom picture where it's a group photo, they're all holding the boats. That's a half hull project. So each of the students pick a different boat to research, and then they build half of that boat on a very small scale. So some really cool projects that come through that. There's an epoxy project. So the gentleman with the chain, they're seeing where there's going to be a failure. Is it going to be at the fastener? So at the screw, is it going to be at the epoxy, so whatever adhesive they're using to put those two blocks together, or is it going to be at the wood? And so that's how they're learning about these different sorts of materials that are used on boats, what works well, what doesn't work well, that kind of thing as well. Marine service technology. So boat building is building the boat. That's who comes out of those programs. Marine service technology, these are the folks that keep the boat running. These are your marine mechanics, your marine technicians, your marine electricians. Generally, these folks are headed to marinas. They're going to work as a marine tech somewhere doing that kind of work. And so on this side, these students are focusing on inboards and outboards. They get their hands on gas and diesel motors. A few years ago, they converted a diesel motor into an electric motor, which is really kind of a cool project. Just like the auto industry, the marine industry is headed towards the electric side as well. So we want to make sure that our students have their hands on that kind of equipment. They also get into different systems, so steering systems, exhaust systems, drive systems, all of that kind of stuff, boatyard practices. These folks spend a lot more time on the water, I would say. They're pretty much on the water from start to finish. Your marine techs, your marine mechanics have to know how to dock a boat, trailer a boat, drive with the boat, all of that kind of stuff. And so they're on the water. As long as the water's open up here and it's warm enough, our students are out there. They're actually headed out with a boat today. It's 50 degrees up here and it's sunny. So they had the boat down at the boat launch today, getting ready to put it in the water. They also get into different systems like HVAC, plumbing, electrical. They're learning how to, wire in wayfinding systems, GPSs, fish finders, TVs, that kind of stuff. Our students that go work for some of these yacht manufacturers or are building these boats that people live on, they have to know how to do that because these people want bathrooms, they want kitchens, they want all of that kind of stuff on their boat. And so we're making sure that our students have that skill and know how to do that as well. We're up in the Upper Peninsula. We have all 4 seasons. So weatherization in the fall, they're learning how to weatherize them for the winter. They're putting boats into storage, all of that kind of stuff. In the summertime, springtime, they're pulling them back out, learning them how to get them ready to put back on the water and that kind of stuff too. So just some pictures from Marine Service Technology. Again, we teach the students how to trailer dock boats, all of that kind of stuff. There's students working on some different repair pieces. So they're working on a fiberglass boat here, doing some repair work on it. You can see students both working on inboards and outboards, installing an inboard in a boat, tearing things apart, putting things back together, a lot of diagnostics on here with computer programs, but also learning how to troubleshoot by listening and exploring the engines and different systems that they're working on as well. And then we get into, again, the electrical and different systems as well. So you can see the backside of a dashboard here that the students are working on. Our instructors put a ton of bugs in those and they have to figure out how to get everything working correctly and stuff like that too. So that is our Marine Service Technology side. We have, again, some great partners in the industry. One of 4 schools, we are well known, we are well supported by the industry, and our students, they get the benefit of that. So I'm going to talk about ABYC first. ABYC is the American Boat and Yacht Council. I bring these guys up first because this is the only certification that students have to pay for outside of their tuition. So one ABYC test is built into tuition for Marine Service Technology students. So all Marine Service Technology students have to test for at least one ABYC certification, and it's the standard certification. They don't have to pass it, they just have to test for it. ABYC is the American Boat and Yacht Council. They set the safety standards for the industry. And so this is just kind of important because when our students learn these safety standards, they learn the ABYC standards, they can take this anywhere. And this is what most of the industry is using in terms of those standards. If they get, they can test for 4 certifications, which those are built into the curriculum. They've changed them now, so I'm not going to get them right, but I know there's an electrical, a gas and diesel, the standards, and then there's other ones. If a student has 3 ABYC certifications that they've passed, they leave here a master tech through ABYC. That makes them more marketable when they start looking for jobs, hitting the industry. So I mentioned that first test is built into the tuition. Students after that, it's $150 a test for ABYC certifications. For an employer to send them for those to do them on their own, it's between $1,500 and $2,000 on their own. So there's a significant cost savings for our students to do those here and get those certifications while they're here. All of the rest of these are built into the different curriculums. So on the boat building side or Marine Service Technology. Our boat building students, they can get that Axo Nobel certification. So that is a spray finishing certification. Axo Nobel is a chemical company. They have marine grade spray finishing. They send people, representatives to come up and teach our students how to do the spray finishing because again, there's a big demand for that in the industry right now. Boat building students can also test for ILMOR. They get an ILMOR inboard certification, and then they can test for ABYC certifications as well if they want. Because the ABYC is not as heavily built into their curriculum and they don't have to take that certification, our instructors are willing to do some study time and extra time outside of class with them so they can prepare for that. Mercury University is our oldest partner. Students can get a level 1 technician certification. Again, this is for marine service technology, and it's built into the curriculum and into their tuition. They get a number, and so if they go work for a Mercury dealer or Mercury mechanic, they can continue to build on that certification. Ilmor, again, this is an inboard certification. Volvo Penta is a diesel certification that they can earn. And then Yamaha is our newest partner. We are still working out what that certification looks like. So right now, that's really sort of a launch pad for them to go get the certifications through Yamaha. But we are building our curriculum to include some of these Yamaha pieces. So again, we are very well known in the industry. We are very well connected to the industry. We have a lot of support from these big names. And again, our students are working on all of these types of motors. So there's Mercury, Yamaha, Volvo, Ilmor, all of those engines are out in our shop right now, including things like Johnson, Evinrude. Students that work on the Great Lakes have a better opportunity to see some of the older engines because fresh water doesn't tear up motors like salt water does. So we make sure that they get their hands on old and new equipment. Career pathways. So there are a lot of options for our students to gain employment in the marine industry. These are just sort of the main places that our students choose to go when they leave here. So marinas, dealerships, manufacturers, restoration shops, custom boat builders. And then we do get a good portion of our students that choose to get into entrepreneurship or maybe work for themselves. Particularly our military veterans, maybe we're kind of the transition between retiring from the military and doing the next thing. Maybe they don't want to go work for somebody. Our career changers, and then our retirees. So some of our retirees, they're not looking to gain employment. They want to have a skill. They want to do something with it because they're not quite ready to be done. And so we have that as well. And we do have students that do come right out of high school looking to work for themselves. And so what we have is an articulation agreement with North Central Michigan College. And these are for students that want to continue their education on the university path as well. And so North Central Michigan College has an Associate of General Studies degree. It's 62 credits. If students graduate from either one of our programs, so Marine Service Technology or the boat building program, 39 of those credits will articulate into this Associates of General Studies degree. This covers all of the students' electives. So the rest of the classes that they have to take, they can take online. And so students can graduate from our school, get a job, take these classes online at night or whenever it works for their schedule, get their associate's degree. And then that can transfer to any four-year university in the state of Michigan. So while we do have students that are coming to, really get the technical skills, some of them want to go into the business side of things. Some of them, like I said, want to own their own business. And so this is an opportunity to allow our students to continue that education path if they want to. All right, so if anybody is familiar with the Lachino Island area or the Eastern Upper Peninsula, we are a very small town. We are very seasonal. We have most of our population here in the summertime when people come and are staying at their second or third homes or at their cottages. But with that being a small community, we have a lot of support from our community. The school was started by people here who wanted to keep these skills alive. And so they support our students through different ways. And one of those is housing. So we don't have housing on campus yet, but it is something that the board of directors is working on. So currently the housing options, students can rent cottages, houses, apartments, and then we have a partnership with the local hotel. This is very similar to dorm living. So it's less than a mile from the school. We have a kitchen right here on site that our students can utilize. That's open to them 24/7. And then the hotels, some of them have kitchenettes, some of them don't. So it is a hotel room with the room and the bathroom similar to like what you'd have in a dorm. A lot of our students out of high school go here. So there's also sort of that community feel. This is a partnership with the hotel. And so they take care of our students as well. They have a common room, different things like that for our students to be able to utilize there. There's laundry on site, that kind of stuff too. So our housing options are unique. There's enough housing though for all of our students. Some of our older students bring their families. Some they just want to live by themselves in a cottage. Some of these are on the water, so they'll bring their own boats, their own, outdoor rec vehicles, things like that too. So while it is very important for us to make sure that our students have a great year here learning the technical skills and also the soft skills, so we do mock interviews with industry employers. They come in and they interview our students, provide feedback so that when our students start looking for jobs, they're ready. We also help with resume building, cover letters. All of that is important. We want them to have a great year here, but we also want to make sure that their time outside of school is well spent, and that they enjoy their time in the Upper Peninsula. Most of our students are not local. They're coming, actually, we have a lot that come from Southwest Michigan, the Grand Rapids area, out of state. And so sometimes the Upper Peninsula can be a little bit of a culture shock. There is a lot to do here. It's just making sure that we make sure our students are connected to that. And so we have a lot of cookouts. We have a lot of school-wide activities that we do. We encourage our students to volunteer. So in some of these pictures, you can see the Adopt a Highway. You can see students, the ones that are wearing the leis, they're actually volunteering at a local festival called Snows Fest here. We keep our students out on the water as much as we can. Softball games, we had a kickball game already this year. And then we drive them up to Lake Superior State University for hockey games or sporting events and stuff like that too. So there is a lot going on up here for the students that really enjoy hunting, fishing, outdoor rec, all of that kind of stuff. We are really sort of a haven for that. We are surrounded by state land, surrounded by water. We have an incredibly long ice fishing season. Just being landlocked in the islands, it goes from December, January into April sometimes. So a very long ice fishing season. We do have winter up here. We're in the banana belt of the Upper Peninsula, so that might sound kind of funny. We get a lot of snow, probably a lot more snow than some of the folks here on the call, but we don't get as much snow as Marquette, Sault Ste. Marie. We get less snow than that. So, and actually, I think the last couple of years, the Detroit area had more snow than us a few times. So, so this is how we keep our students engaged and make sure that, again, not only is their education a positive experience for them, but just their whole time here up at the area is a good time as well. So the admissions process, I am the admissions manager. So we are a small staff. I am our only admissions manager here at the school. So students work with me from start to finish. And so our application cycle runs the same every year. December 1 is the first application deadline. March 1 is the second, and then early June. So this year it's June 8th is the final application deadline. We coincide those with visit days that we have. So we have on-site visit days where the instructors get involved. We do hands-on activities. We tour the school. Students can check out the area. Our next one is November 8th. So that's a Saturday coming up here. Those are really great. And I'll make sure to send that information to Sarah as well about our visit days. But the application process is pretty much the same, and I am the point person for our students. So you can complete an application online. I'm always happy to mail a paper copy or a fillable PDF. Again, our students are ranging from 17 to 68, so we're willing to work with the student however they need to receive some of the information. They do an admissions interview with me, so that's a 30 to 45-minute interview that we can do in person or over Zoom. That's really just to talk about the goals students have, what they want to do for a career, where they want to go, things like that. And then they have to send their transcripts. So with our accreditation, we do require that students have graduated or have their GED, but we don't necessarily look at GPA. GPA, we understand some of these students have been out of school for 30 years. Some of them knew they were going to the military, so this school really wasn't what they were focusing on. And a lot of our students are coming out of CTE programs, and hands-on learning is what they did best. And so we recognize that and just need to make sure that they've graduated high school. And then there's a $100 application fee as well. I don't know why that's not on here, but we have the $100 application fee. We do have a fee waiver. Generally, students that submit the fee waiver are approved for that $100, the fee waiver for the application. Paying for school, we are accredited, so federal financial aid. I always encourage students to fill out their FAFSA. We have a really robust internal scholarship program. Our smallest is $500, our largest is $11,000. So tuition this year was $27,000, broken into three $9,000 payments. So that $11,000 can go a long way for a student, plus if they get Pell, things like that. We also accept external scholarships. So if there's scholarships through the school, the local community. I know sometimes for the trade schools, people are familiar with the Mike Rowe scholarship. So he's the guy from Dirty Jobs. So there's some national scholarships that we can accept as well, and some industry specific scholarships. Sponsorship's a little bit different. So this is where there's strings attached to the money. We currently have 2 employers through the school who work with us to provide sponsorships to students. The first is Irish Boat Shop. They have locations in Harbor Springs, Charlevoix, and Traverse City. We actually have an event with them this Wednesday, them in Wallstrom Marine for counselors up here in Northern Michigan. So they will pay, I believe, $15,000 for students to come here. So a portion of the tuition, and they start them, it's either at $20 or $22 an hour. I can't remember now, but the student agrees to work with them for at least a year on the back end. Our other partner is Tierra Yachts out of Holland, Michigan. Tierra Yachts is a yacht manufacturer. They will pay $20,000 of a student's tuition to come here. And again, the student agrees to work with them on the back end. There are also employers that provide sponsorships to students through their company. One of them is Van Dam Boat Works or Boyne Boatyard. Another is Wallstrom Marine. They have provided those. And sometimes there are just local ones that we don't know about, but they send the students here and they pay for the student to come to school. Veteran education benefits. So again, for our veterans that are exiting the military and want to utilize their post 9/11, so GI Bill, VOC rehab, we can accept that. And then the Career Trades Empowerment Award. This is for our CTE students that have a B or higher in qualifying CTE classes. So these are going to be classes like construction, wood shop, automotive, power equipment, things like that. If they have a B or higher, they get a $1,500 discount on tuition because we want to recognize the work that they've already done at the high school level. And it has to be 3 years after they graduate. So not right after their senior year if they take a break or a gap year and they come back. It's 3 years out. But a B or higher will give them that $1,500 discount on tuition. All right, that is all I have. So I'm happy to answer any questions or connect.
Thank you so much, Megan. I know that you guys have, I'm really excited to see that you have incorporated the marine tech. We're still just, it boggles us that we're surrounded by water, yet we have no
Yeah.
in our students. So
Yeah.
we just can't seem to pick up speed in Macomb County in the Southeast Michigan region to get some type of training. So I
Yeah.
appreciate that you guys did that. That's
Yeah. Yep. And we're here. And I know, the UP can seem kind of daunting. It is only a year. And I always say anybody can do anything for a
Yeah.
year. There are people that go to Michigan Tech all the way up in Houghton for 4 years. So, or
Yeah.
longer. So
yeah.
we're in a good spot. So we're far enough away, but close enough that it's easy for students in Southeast Michigan, Southwest Michigan to get back home if they need to. So.
Yeah, for sure. Well, congratulations on all the rebranding. I know you've done a
Yeah.
lot of work to get out there. I
Yeah.
see you at the conferences throughout the
Yep.
state. So
Yeah.
it sounds like things are going really well there. So
Yeah. Yep.
that's
And we
awesome.
are actually in a campus expansion right now too. So we are
Nice.
working on getting a new facility. And once we have that, we may increase admissions for our enrollment from 30 to 50. We're still going to keep it small, but that new shop's going to be for our marine service technology folks, and then our boat
Oh,
builders will take over the whole shop that we have
oh,
now.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Well done. I'm not sure if anyone had any questions. I didn't see anything in the chat. I know you've been in front of a lot of the counselors here too, so it's always great to see familiar faces. And like I said, I've recorded this and I'll share your slides out if anyone requests those as well. So
Awesome.
yeah, thank you so much. So for everybody in the room, we're going to conclude because 3:30 is our shutdown time. So for your password today, it's going to be boating. How appropriate, right?
Yeah,
I
that
could do
works.
Eagles, but he's gone now, Jaden, so you won't feel bad. But so our password today for this event is boating. This will be up on our Macomb Engage website. Megan, I know put her, I don't know if you put your contact in the chat, but I'll push all that stuff out to everyone that participated. But it was a great audience today, over 40 counselors from across Michigan. So that was great.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to chat with everybody too.
Yeah, for sure. All right, everyone. Well, safe travels, those of you that are leaving out of your offices, and I will connect with you all real soon. Megan, thanks again. Have a great
Yep.
one.
Thank you, you too.
Yeah. All right. Bye.